real 25-year run. What they talk about Cabo? What they talking about, man? I ain't been back 12 hours yet. Right, what up?
Venti. We bring the Venti out here. Shit looking type slick.
I don't know, Black.
He was your man, like on the side, like on the side, just he was not a rapper at all.
Right.
So when Ballin' took place, and I'm looking and I'm going, oh, he having a moment. That's the Lloyd Banks. That's Lloyd Banks.
I remember this real talk. I was on probation at the time. My probation officer was like, come down to probation or we gonna lock you up on Thursday. I'm like, what the fuck I did? And New York City Intel was there. And New York City Intel said, what's going on with you and 50 Cent? I said, it's some music shit. What the fuck you talking about? They said, well, this seems like it's one. I said, yo, he puts people out of business. I gotta respond. I respond to everything I love. I told you. So I'm like, yo, the man puts people out of business. You gotta say something. Then one officer's like, yeah, he does, man. He does. So it's just on me. Y'all gonna talk to him? Like, they like, yeah, his flight is later. We're gonna have a
50 Cent just made a move, so Slick It left Dipset spinning, trying to figure out what just hit them. And now, Cameron's finally breaking his silence, revealing what really went down behind those closed doors. This isn't some petty rap beef. This is about money, loyalty, and legacy crashing into each other at full speed. Cam's peeling back the curtain on where things truly stand between him and Jim Jones after years of drama, betrayal, and those fake we good now moments that never lasted. He made it clear this was never just about friendship gone wrong. This was about power, control, and who really ran the bag. He laid it all out, how he spent years putting in the grind, making sure Jim Jones and Juelz Santana had every opportunity to win.
Look, I always wish Jim the best. I hope he does well. He came a long way. You know what I'm saying?
That's we all did, bro.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Y'all bros.
No, I want to tell you something. I'm talking about just from not being my man. You gotta realize this is my man who couldn't rap. It turned into my hype man. It turned into an artist directing videos, so his hustle is impeccable. As far as me for the Diplomat, the question is this though. You gotta think about this, Bleak. We put out our first mixtape probably 2001.
24 years ago.
Yeah, the album came out in 2003. So you sit there and say, okay, 2001 to let's say we broke up 2007. Even if you give it 2008, that's a 6-7 year run. Music is just so powerful. The logo is still, people just love it. Our first reunion, I'm talking about after we broke up, After the Devil, was in 2010.
Yeah.
The first reunion show we did. If we can't get it together now, it's been 2010 to 2025. So the reunions and arguments and fighting's been 15 years. The run was only 7.
This wasn't charity. It was business. From inking mixtape deals to turning the Diplomats into a Harlem dynasty, Cam carried that entire brand on his shoulders. Every move, every hustle, every headline that was in building something bigger than rap. And now, after all the blood, sweat, and loyalty he poured in, he's finally saying it loud. Too many people forgot who built the empire they're still standing on. Cam also dropped a gem, saying heavyweights like Dame Dash used to warn him, slow down, bro, don't rush the bag. But Cam wasn't wired for patience. He hit the gas, transforming Dipset into more than a rap group. It became a brand, a street empire, a full-blown cultural wave. That relentless drive made history, but it also sowed seeds of tension that never truly went away. Even when the crew looked picture-perfect for the cameras, those cracks were always there, waiting for the right moment to explode. And just when it seemed like Dipset might finally regain their rhythm, 50 Cent slid in with a chess move that flipped the whole board upside down. Cam laid it all out, breaking down how he rode for Jim and Juelz when nobody else believed. He said it bluntly. People didn't see Jim as a real rapper, but Cam kept fighting, shooting videos, securing deals, and making sure the whole squad ate. He even recalled Dame telling him, "You might want to slow that down. Cam, you're moving too fast." But Cam wasn't built to coast. He was built to conquer. While others were chilling, he was outworking everybody, building something bigger than rap. This wasn't just about making hits. It was about power, survival, and setting the pace so fast nobody else could keep up. Now, Cam's whole energy is different. He's not chasing old moments or replaying the glory days. He's rewriting the playbook. It's all about growth, evolution, and ownership. The focus isn't who had the hardest verse or the flashiest jewelry in them.
Even like with Jim, I didn't get him his first deal at Koch. Like, I got the single, the artist deal at Rockefeller. I went to Kevin Lyles and Leon to get the joint venture deal for Jewels and the Diplomat album. Then Dame just came and started flipping to him about, you ain't doing no deal with Cam. If I would have came and asked you for this deal, you would have told me no. So I ended up going through Rockefeller, Def Jam for Diplomats and Jewels when it was just going to be Diplomat, Def Jam.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but Dame went up there flipping out on Kevin. And Kevin, I remember sitting there, he's like, Dame, I don't make money off albums. I get paid a salary. I don't give a fuck if it goes to Kitty, Def Jam, whatever. So, but back to the Diplomat thing. Look, I always wish Jim the best. I hope he does well. He came a long way. You know what I'm saying?
Facts, we all did, bro.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Y'all bros,
No, I want to tell you something. I'm talking about just from not being my man. You got to realize this is my man who couldn't rap. It turned into my hype man. It turned into an artist directing videos, so his hustle was impeccable.
It's who can turn their legacy into generational wealth. And if you really listen, you can tell Cam's already 10 steps ahead. While everyone else is still trying to rewind the past, he's busy building the future. Cam didn't just talk. He ripped the curtain wide open and showed how deep his riff with Jim Jones truly runs. And trust, it's heavier than anyone ever imagined. The emotion in his voice told the whole story. Pain, pride, and raw truth wrapped into every word. Fans are calling it one of the realest, most honest interviews Cam has ever done about Dipset. And they're absolutely right. Before we even dive into the clip, drop your thoughts in the comments and hit that subscribe button, because what Cam reveals next will forever change how you see the Dipset legacy. This was never just about a friendship gone wrong. It was about loyalty, ego, and the cost of success when brotherhood becomes business. In hip-hop, nothing exposes true loyalty like money does. Cam made it clear, Dipset wasn't just a rap crew. It was a brand, a brotherhood, a movement born from the grind. But when that brand started generating real money, the foundation started to crack. He broke it down perfectly. They had a 7-year run that changed the culture, followed by a 15-year feud that just wouldn't die. Think about that. The fallout lasted twice as long as the fame. Cam said it himself. The first mixtape hit in 2001, and by 2008, it all fell apart. Every reunion after that just reopened the wounds. That's not just beef. That's a lifetime lesson in how money and pride can turn loyalty into collateral damage. Still, Cam never played the victim. He kept it solid. Business and friendship just stopped aligning, and when that broke, so did the brotherhood. But instead of bitterness, he came with reflection. He admitted he fought hard for Jim and Jewels, locking down deals, shooting videos, and building the Diplomat brand from the ground up. And Jim? He put in work too, evolving from Cam's hype man to a self-made boss. This wasn't finger-pointing. It was growth. A reminder that ambition can build empires, but it can also break the bonds that created them. Now, Cam's vision is laser-focused. He's not chasing nostalgia or reliving the past. He's reinventing himself. It's new money, new moves, and a bigger mindset. He's showing that real power isn't in holding onto old glory. It's in creating new legacies. Even after all the chaos, Cam's still standing tall, flipping every loss into leverage. The Dipset story didn't end. It just evolved. And if you're watching closely, Cam's already teaching the next generation how to turn pain into profit and legacy into empire. And then there's 50 Cent, the man who didn't just play the game. He rewrote the entire rulebook. His latest move didn't just shake up Dipset. It sent shockwaves through the whole culture. 50 reminded everyone that in hip-hop, strategy and timing will always hit harder than bars. Every step he took was calculated, from turning G-Unit into a multi-million-dollar machine to expanding into TV, film, and liquor. Every deal was a chess move, not a gamble. He wasn't chasing quick cash. He was building a system that fed everyone around him. That's why when people mention 50's name, they don't just talk about music. They talk about empire, ownership, and longevity.
There was a time where Jim had did a show with 50, and I think...
I remember that concept.
Right, and I think the way 50 answered the question got Jim mad. But I'm sitting there saying to myself, I think it'd be on the time me and you on right now. We can't talk about, we can't talk about, but the way 50 answered the question, it got Jim mad and it riled him up and he went on tangent for 4, 5, 6 months. Still to this day, I guess he's still upset. But I didn't mean militia out of it. I really want to know
what it was.
How did you get niggas to go fuck with you when me and you beefing? And me and Jewels and Jim, not saying we was beefing, but we wasn't on the same page. So it was a real question for me. And, you know, Jim got mad about it and still upset to this day about it. But I'm never going to say never. But at the end of the day, if you got to think about it, the disputes, the arguments, the reunions, it's 15 years old, and the run was 7 years old. I don't know if it can ever go right. You know, he got records dissing me earlier this year, whatever. I don't really pay no mind. People send it to me. But you got to think about it. He put a song called Our Frenemies in like 2008.
That's the difference between staying hot and becoming a legend. Cam's new revelations cracked the Dipset legacy wide open, showing the chaos hiding behind the diamonds, pink coats, and Harlem bravado. Beneath the surface, brotherhood turned into business, and business turned into war. 50 saw it before anyone else. He spotted the pride, the cracks, and the silence, then made his move like a general watching his rivals self-destruct. While Dipset was busy debating credit and royalties, 50 was stacking assets and flipping equity. He didn't just rap about power. He studied it, mastered it, and Monetized it. That's what separated him from everyone else. 50 turned ambition into artillery. Back in the early 2000s, Dipset was unstoppable. The sound, the swagger, the streets. Harlem was the epicenter of the culture. But behind all that success was a quiet civil war. Cam was a visionary, the architect who turned street fame into corporate power. Meanwhile, Jim Jones was expanding his reach, managing artists, building his own ventures, making his own name. That's when the split began. Two leaders, one brand, and too much ambition to share the same throne. And right as the tension hit its peak, 50 stepped in and flipped the whole script. See, 50 wasn't spectating. He was studying. He watched Dipset unravel and turn their downfall into a business model. While Harlem was arguing over status, 50 was signing production deals, buying property, and building an empire outside the booth. He didn't just stay in the music business. He became the business. That's why, years later, while so many peers faded out, 50 is still evolving. He never let nostalgia cage him. While others stayed stuck reliving their prime, he was already building his next kingdom. That's a lesson nobody wants to hear. In this industry, the ones who evolve don't just last, they dominate. 50's power moves didn't just shift the landscape, they set a new standard for independence. He proved you don't need label chains, fake loyalty, or messy politics to win big. And now, Cam seems to be taking notes. His owning up to how some of his past moves came from pride instead of purpose. His showing how mixing business with brotherhood can turn dreams into damage. What we're seeing isn't just Cam calling out Jim. It's him decoding the trap that's held artists hostage for decades. Because in hip-hop, loyalty might get you love, but only strategy builds legacy. And what makes this entire saga hit harder is how public it all was. This wasn't quiet beef. It was a full-blown cultural moment. The industry watched two Harlem icons go from allies to adversaries in real time. Every interview, every bar, every subliminal felt like gasoline on an open flame. Cam had built Dipset from scratch, but once the fame hit, so did the noise, managers, labels, street politics, everyone whispering in different ears. Suddenly, brotherhood turned into boardroom tension. Simple decisions became power battles. Who runs the money? Who owns a brand? Who wears a crown? And those questions did what no diss track ever could. They tore the empire apart from the inside. And let's be real, 50 Cent saw it all coming from a mile away. While Dipset was tangled up in ego battles and money disputes, 50 was out here stacking empires, film franchises, hit TV shows, liquor brands, and generational wealth. He didn't just survive the game, he redesigned it. The coldest part? He didn't have to lift a finger against them. He just let Dipset's internal chaos play out while he made quiet power moves in the background. That's next-level strategy, knowing when to move and when to let your enemies destroy themselves. Now, Cam's reflection years later sounds less like regret and more like a warning. Fame fades fast, but strategy lasts forever. Because in this business, loyalty's temporary, egos clash daily, and money speaks louder than talent. The ones who win aren't the loudest, they're the smartest. The ones who know how to play both sides of the board without losing their soul. That's why this story isn't just about Dipset falling apart. It's a mirror for the whole industry. You can have platinum records, world tours, and viral fame, but if the paperwork and power structure aren't right, it all collapses. Cam's not preaching theory. He's speaking from scars. He's lived it. The rise, the betrayal, the rebuild, and now he's teaching that survival in hip-hop isn't about relevance. It's about resilience. The wild part? The music still hits. The classics still shake the culture like they did 20 years ago. But real greatness isn't just about nostalgia. It's about evolution. It's about who can turn that fame into forever money, real ownership, and control. And Cam? He finally seems to get that. Maybe Jim does too. If they ever reunite, it won't be for streams or publicity. It'll be for legacy, equity, and respect. So what do you think? Can Cam and Jim ever rebuild what they once had? Or has too much been said, too much been done? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Smash that like button and make sure you subscribe. Because this story, it's far from finished.